What's up, guys? Welcome back to Comedian Bible Study, the show where I trick my favorite people into talking about my favorite thing, which is God and God's Word, And that's why you're here. You're here because you're curious about the Bible and what it has to say about you. And Channing is here because this is his studio. Say what's up, Channing.
What up?
Yes.
What it do? How we doing?
You did that so good. That was perfect, man. That's exactly how you say what up. And this guest right here, I can't wait to bring him my guest today, man. I'm so excited to have him. All right, my guest right now, he is actually the first guest, believe it or not, the first guest I ever had on Comedian Bible Study. Back before it was recorded, I just put it on my phone. I wanted to test it out, have a pilot, and this is the first brother I called, and he was so gracious to do it with me when I was working out the kinks, and he helped give me a whole lot of direction. In fact, he actually introduced me to Channing. That's why we here, and that's why we're so deep into this series. So I really appreciate him for that. But besides being a really cool brother, okay, he's an extraordinary comedian, and he's the host of the world famous Tough Choice podcast with Kazeem Rahman. Ladies and gentlemen, and he tours all over the world. You can see him at all kind of comedy clubs, colleges, everywhere. Give him my brother, Kazeem Rahman.
That deserves a clap. That is a very well thought out intro.
Yes, it's so true and it's so accurate.
Yeah, I'm happy to be the returning champion of your podcast.
Yes, and that was before I had a Bible belt thing, man. Yeah. You just came and talked Bible with me.
I was there for the pilot.
Yes,
we were just being like,
it was in my hot living room.
That was basically everyone needs one episode.
Yes,
it's like, is this something I should keep doing?
Yeah, especially if it's a thought, because this is dangerous. You start talking about theology and religion. If you don't come with the right spirit,
people can get angry fast. When it's, it doesn't even matter what religion it is.
Exactly,
people will get angry.
Exactly, and especially and that's why I had to test my own spirit. Like, wait, am I triggered by things? Because I like to talk Bible, but I've never really been challenged by it. Like, I feel I've been questioned, but I've never felt challenged because I felt like I've understood it and I understand, and I don't put myself in position to defend God or God's word or anything like that.
You're talking to a Muslim now, so I think.
And you're actually the third on since we've been pre-recording them, right? So
the third Muslim, or
Muslim, Ramzi Badawi,
okay,
and then Zainab Johnson,
okay,
and now yourself.
You had Zainab on.
I had Zainab on. She hasn't been released technically.
Okay,
well, by now she has.
Yeah, you had Zainab before. Okay, well,
no offense. What's
a downgrade in popularity?
Listen to me.
Muslims.
You're not.
You have a very downgrade.
You're a great comedian.
I'm a good comedian. Am I as popular as those two? No, they have credit.
You're great. No. You're my. What more? You know what your best credit is? You're my friend. Okay.
There we go. Where's the camera? That's my camera right there.
All right. I didn't call them first.
I'm his friend.
You're dang right. Okay, forget being on TV and having hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yes.
You're my friend.
Well,
okay.
That's your best credit.
I'll take both. I'll take both. I feel like I need both.
You're getting both.
I'm not saying I don't want to be your friend.
Yes.
I'm just saying
you're saying you choose that.
If the option of fame came around. And also,
you would never call me again.
I am not saying I'm ready to forget everybody. That's not.
I feel you.
I don't lie.
I feel you.
Part. But I'm not saying I want the option of fame.
Yes.
Right. Well, let me not say fame. I don't want fame. I want success.
Oh,
that's what you want, because I don't want what I don't want is 1 million followers and no money. That's what you don't want.
Right.
And that's a whole nother conversation about.
Oh, we can get into that because the Bible talks about good success and what that must mean there's bad success. But we can figure it out. But that's in the book of Joshua anyway. But what you brought, before we get into the word that you brought, technically, I'll say how we came about the word, because you were just specific about the topic, like of marriage. But before we get there, you kind of touched on it, but what would you say specifically is your theological stance? I know you're Islam, but when we were talking to Zainab, she said there's no denominations, but there are Sunni, like, what would you, right? What would you say? How would you define your theological stance at this point? Even Ramzi was not a man. He was Muslim or Islamic in culture, but not, he was still struggling with God himself. But where are you, Kazeem?
Where am I?
With theology.
I think well, that's the thing. I think in Islam we learn that every Muslim technically is in their own little struggle of like in their own journey of where they are in their religion, right?
Okay.
So in Islam, just a little. In Islam, your faith is never gonna be, at 10, 24/7. That's never how it's supposed to be, right? It's gonna dip, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, it's gonna be like a wave, right? And the nature of Islam is to try to get to 10, but never like to just reach 10, because then if you reach 10, then that means you're without sin, and that's impossible.
Oh, okay. Well, right. So without so when you say faith, like it's just like, okay.
Right? And if people struggle with their faith in different ways,
but not necessarily the practice of it. You're talking about specifically the faith.
I mean the practice. When I say faith, I mean the belief and the practice. Because if there's
together.
Exactly. In Islam, there's no difference in between. There's yes, you can believe in God, but there's also actions that need to be.
Faith without works is dead.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, right? I see.
So like that. So, if there's 5 pillars of Islam, the first one is faith, but there's still 4 other actions that you have.
What are they? I didn't. Sorry to put you on this.
Iman, Salat, Zakat, Saum, and Hajj. So yes. Iman is belief, right? Salat is just prayer, right? Zakat is basically giving tithes. Right, that's just called zakat, right? So it's like a percentage of your savings, right? And if you can't afford it, then you don't have to pay it, right? Saum is fasting in the month of Ramadan, so that's 30 days of like don't eat from sunrise to sunset, right? From dawn to sunset, right. And then Hajj is a once in a lifetime pilgrimage that every Muslim, if they can afford it, should do or has to do, if they can afford it.
Right. Oh, okay.
So those, only one of them is just believing. The other 4, you gotta do something. Gotta get up and book a ticket. Exactly.
Go to Mecca.
With that, when someone says, they're struggling with their faith, and that's understandable because we're all struggling to an extent. We all should be struggling. Right. We should be. It's like a Mamba mentality. Right. Islam I'm not saying like Kobe just was Muslim. I'm just saying that it's like you're always striving to be better. You're always a student. That's where I am. I guess if I circle, I'm always striving to be better. I'm not perfect in any way. I try. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? I pray. Right. I fast. I give my tithes and stuff like that. And I haven't been like on the pilgrimage yet, but when I can afford it, I'll go. Right.
What does that include? A pilgrimage, like what?
It's a bunch of stuff. Well, that's the thing. Next time it happens, I'll send you a link.
No,
it
thanks.
really, it is a
what?
It's so funny.
What?
No, thank you.
I should preface that Kazeem and I are good friends.
Yes.
We should.
He's not xenophobic, guys.
He's officially 3 very mean comedians.
Kazeemophobic
right now. But it's hard to explain without showing you pictures.
Is it similar to like what do the Mormon kids do when they go on mission?
No.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's what I was
exactly. A lot of people think that Hajj is like birthright or like a Mormon missionary or something like that. No, not necessarily. I really have to like show you.
Is it a certain amount of days you go to like in Israel you go to the Wailing Wall?
Yeah. There are actions where you circle around. It's
more
the
of a personal
largest
thing, huh?
Yes, but it's a group thing. It's a personal thing that you're going by yourself.
You're doing it as a group.
You're doing it with at least around 1 million people.
Oh my God!
Right? It is the
at least 1 million.
It is the largest religious gathering every single year.
It happens once a year.
It happens once a year.
Hajj. All right.
It's called Hajj because it's a month in Islam.
Oh, okay. And can you go multiple times in your life, or is it?
You can go multiple times in your life. You just have to go once. You can go. Yeah, I know people that have gone multiple times.
Do you have that many vacation days saved up?
Nah, I don't.
Damn.
It's expensive now.
Man,
It's expensive.
how'd you have mercy?
Right? All right. There should be like there should be a DJ who like,
You got something. Come on, you got something for
Let me
me.
see what I got in here.
Oh, no.
that is so
If
funny.
we hit it, no, we didn't. That wasn't quite a prophetic word, but
it
I
was
do
very
thank
funny.
you for bringing the word for today. And actually, what Kazeem said was marriage. You just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's talk about marriage." And so I thought, and maybe you might interpret this differently. This is a story that's a part of Islamic tradition and understanding. However, not many people have understood it to be the first marriage. Maybe just me. But I consider this the first marriage, and it's in Genesis chapter 2, verse 21 through 24. And it reads, 21, "So the Lord caused the man," this is Adam, "to fall into a deep sleep. While he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh." 22, "Then the Lord made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man and brought her to the man." 23, "The man said, 'This is now bone of my bones.'" And I don't know if he said it like this, "and flesh of my flesh.
I'm pretty sure he
And
didn't say
shall
that.
be called woman." Woman. Because she was taken out of man. For she was taken out of man. That's what it says. 24, "That is why man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." Background, the book of Genesis is in the Old Testament and part of the Torah, or the first 5 books of Moses, and is part. At this part, after creating all of creation and creatures, God has created man in God's image. Seeing that it's not good for man to be alone, and first man is given birth, in a matter of, maybe I'm the only one to say it like that, but he's kind of given birth to his wife through divine surgery. Why did you choose to talk about marriage, Kazeem? I got one of those just for reading the word.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I can, before we start, can I just
Yes.
say I am so stealing a lot of your sound effects.
Oh, wow.
I just want that. I just want them.
Just on a tough choice, somebody just
has
has a divine tough
Someone
choice.
says something divine, I'm doing that. I don't want you to feel like
I stole your studio.
You're gonna
man.
do. You didn't steal it.
I didn't
It's
steal it.
not mine to steal.
Oh yeah, I stole. Well,
Right?
I'm gonna steal
I was
Channing's
just
the
stuff.
correct answer.
You know what I mean? I was just I feel that when I see something that is good, I want to share it with other people.
Bless you, man.
So it's
Yes.
like people are like,
Hey,
there we
now
go.
you preaching, brother.
There we go. I'm gonna get like 4 more of those.
We're not here. I don't care if it takes 5 hours. We gonna get 4.
But yeah, no, it's. I feel if you said you were looking for a studio,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, well, what's your studio situation? And you were like, this is my situation. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure you can get a better deal over here, right?
Yeah.
But just go have the conversation. I'm never gonna force people to do
Right.
something, but I'll always be like, hey, these are the options that I'm seeing. This is what I'm doing.
Dude.
This is how my experience with it.
I don't know if you know how rare that is in comedy.
It's very rare.
It's very rare to have brothers
very
like,
rare.
"Here, hey, Mo, you have an issue? Good luck with that, brother. Hey, man.
And that's interesting.
You
That's
never
why-
make it."
And that's such an interesting thing. And and we can do both. We can do marriage, but the story of Adam and Eve is such an interesting. There's such an interesting correlation with comedy on that. But
You mean in the temptation part or what part of-
temptation, self accountability, right? Because this is the thing, and we'll talk about marriage. I promise you.
Oh,
But
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
the main difference between Islam and Christianity when it comes to Adam and Eve is that the beat points are the same.
Right.
Where God created Adam, then God created Eve, then they ate the apple, then not the apple. In Islam, it's just
From the tree
fruit.
of life.
Yeah,
right?
they just ate a fruit, right? And then God sent them down to earth.
Right.
But then the little tiny details are different, right? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in Christianity, it's Adam is sent to earth is seen as a punishment. But then I'm
Well, and
wrong.
actually, Christianity and Judaism are the same because they use the same exact text. So yeah, this is technically the Torah is so Judaism and Christianity, especially in the Old Testament, Judaism just doesn't mess with the New Testament, the epistles, all that type of stuff. But in that tradition, no, he's created from the dust of the earth on the 5th day of
there we go.
creation.
Okay. So then why is it a lot of people say that it was that Adam was sent as a
Sent her.
punishment for eating from the fruit.
Okay. So the divide from heaven and earth happened when the disobedience happened. So when Adam and Eve made that choice, because Eve was deceived, but Adam was not deceived. Adam made the choice, having gotten the instruction from God, and he that separated the kingdom of heaven and earth. That was the idea, is that these people, there was no death. There was all this stuff. These people were walking around enjoying the fruit. And God said, you can eat of all, he gave you abundance. And what Satan had them focus on was the lack, like the idea that you can't have that thing. And he even misquoted God to Eve and said, you won't die. You surely won't die. Whatever is what the devil was saying, or Satan, which is just a title. It's not his actual name. His name is Lucifer. But the one who opposes is what Satan means in the Old Testament biblical Hebrew. And so, what it means is and the first thing Adam said, like you said, not taking accountability, is he said, Lord, this woman you sent me told me to eat, right? And they were both playing the blame game. And then she blamed the serpent for deceiving her, and God struck them both. They were both, they thought that through their egoic knowledge that they knew more than God, that they could possibly know more. And that's what Satan tempted them with. You can know more than God. You can be God. And that's not quite that's where suffering began. That's where our own dependence on ourselves and through our free will, which they had, right? Because you can't have love without free will. God desires love, but it needs a choice in order for you to enact that love. Just like, you can't tie your wife up and call that love.
So
Kazeem, you can't do that.
Untie your wife.
No.
Your wife is held captive. She wants to leave.
That is actually an intervention. Come on out, boys.
Free your wife.
Suddenly my wife just shows
The
up.
FBI is at your house.
Remember yesterday when you tied me? No, I think that's interesting then, because in Islam I've yet to see, and maybe I'm wrong, and I've yet to see a passage about who ate what first. It's always in Islam, it just says they ate. Right. And then they immediately felt bad or felt shame.
Did they realize they were naked? Is that aspect of it in there? And they tried to hide?
So yes, I think so.
And they felt shame?
But they felt shame and they felt bad, and then God teaches them how to repent.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying, why that was interesting for marriage, because that is the first marriage. So how did they interact? How did they communicate? How did they, encourage each other? What was love between them? Which is interesting, right? So and I get what you're saying. It's interesting. It's an interesting way of thinking about the story of Adam and Eve.
It's an interesting way of thinking about, we do that. We play the blame game, and we fall short. So that was my first question, actually. So how, being that you were interested in talking about the topic of marriage, and I know you're a married man, I think it's been at least 2 years, 3 years now.
No, we just celebrated 1 year.
1 year?
In August.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's right, because when we first did it, Now, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah?
Going great.
You said that quick.
Yeah. Of course. You got to say it quick on the podcast. What you mean? You think I'm going to say it slow? She going to see
No
this.
thought at all.
Ask me again. How's it going? It's going amazing. Zoom in on my face.
All right. How's your marriage really going?
It's going great.
Oh, okay.
It's going great. It's good. It's good. I feel blessed. I found it's
Is she flesh of your flesh, bone of your bones?
Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. I will say this: when you were reading that story, it was the way you're so into. It was like Adam woke up and was like, "Oh my God!"
Can you imagine how fine somebody is? You wake up from surgery.
Who is that woman? She
missing
is
a rib.
flesh of my flesh.
Ooh,
bone of my bones.
Oh, yeah, baby.
You get really Baptist. When
she must have been looking good.
You get really Southern Baptist when you're talking about.
She must have been looking good, man. For my brother to wake up and be immediately.
I mean, he's never seen a woman before. Yeah.
Well, we'll give him that. Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Anyone.
She had to look fine.
Exactly.
She's the first one.
Exactly. Of course she was fine. You know what I mean?
True.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed to be married. Right? You hear all these stories of like people that are married and then they end up, having problems from the beginning, and it's all this like turmoil, especially when they're like comedians, especially when they're in entertainment or in some form of art that requires a lot of discipline, that requires a lot of like focus.
Right. Is she supportive in that endeavor?
She's very supportive.
Wow.
Yeah, she's all in. Well, also in her defense, when I met her, that's what I told her. I was like, listen, you should know I'm a comedian. Right. So that's gonna come up a lot in this relationship.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, she understands.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's super cool. And obviously, she's also she was a practicing Muslim. Or
yes, she's practicing Muslim.
Yeah. And grew up in that, or she just
she grew up in that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, that's dope, man. So like, when you like, why do you think it is that so many people in our modern society? Well, first of all, what does the Quran or what does Islamic tradition say about divorce?
Divorce is allowed. Divorce is
allowed. Wow.
It's not like, it's not like saying go ahead and divorce, but it's allowed. It happens. It happened in the time of Islam, of the Prophet. Yeah, it's happened. Peace be upon him. Right? It happened in that time. So divorce is allowed.
That's what's up.
Right?
That's what's up.
So yeah, it's because it's not, think of it this way, it's not, people are still human, right? And things don't work out. We also understand back then, marriage was easy, and that's why divorce is also easy, right?
Back then it was easy?
Back then you just needed to
walk off? Just leave a coat somewhere with blood on it. Like,
in Islam, like a wedding, yes, from the Islamic aspect is very simple. Where it's like you just need the guy, the girl, her dad, and a couple witnesses. Okay. Right? And then an imam or like someone of knowledge.
And just kind of shake hands.
And just be like, hey, do you want to marry him? Okay. Do you want to marry her? Okay. Hey, father, are you okay with this? Is he someone that can, take care of your daughter? He's like, yeah. And then that's about it.
Wow. And then what was the divorce thing?
Huh?
Oh, they would sign something like a covenant type thing?
Yeah. Well, no. I think now they like make you sign something, but back then I don't. Just that's where the witnesses come in. Right.
We saw they.
So yeah.
And then
divorce. I don't know much about divorce. I didn't really look into it. So it's I do know.
Talk to me year 3, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me year 3. Let's see how much research you know about.
Yeah, exactly.
$435.
I'm gonna come back on episode.
And it takes 6 months and 1 day. Sorry, I'm just letting you know about divorce.
Wait, so 400 what?
435 each if it's non-contested divorce, and a 6 months and a year at least in the state of California.
Yeah, you have to wait 6 months for it's final.
In a day. I'm sorry, 6 months in a day. I don't know why I said a year.
Why a day?
It's like a prison sentence. That extra day might, hey,
yeah,
it might be that day.
It's like,
go, you know what?
That is interesting. That is a very.
You gotta give you a year and a day.
Of knowing prison sentence, because if it's more than a year, you can get probation. But if it's exactly a year, you can't get probation. Right. That's why a lot of times they give you a year and a day.
Why not just change the law?
Yeah, you're thinking with logic. Don't speak with logic when we're talking about prison
or marriage. Yeah, that makes sense, man.
No.
So
yeah, well, okay. Yeah. What was your question?
No, so okay. First, you said it was allowed in Islam, but so why do you think it's so? Is it because it's kind of easy to do, or it's not? You said it was easier back then, but not quite as tough. But why are we plagued with divorce? Why do people divorce? In your opinion,
why do people divorce? I can make the argument that people get married for the wrong reasons, or people get married under false pretenses, right? So,
come on, hit that.
Yeah, right. I think, and I can only speak from things that I've seen with like friends and and then you can even use celebrity divorces as an example where it's like, okay, well, if y'all got divorced, after a year, where it's like, okay, well, why'd y'all get married? Right. What led to that conversation? Why didn't they have a conversation about marriage beforehand? And I think a lot of people didn't do that. But then I think what's more interesting is that some of these celebrity couples are getting divorced after 20 years, after 25 years. And it's like, okay, well,
that seems more logical to me.
To wait that long?
Yeah, just to be like, what's that one movie? I think it was Into the Wild with Emile Hirsch. You ever see that movie?
No.
Into the Wild.
It's a journey movie about a young guy who travels the country to just go live out in the wild, and he meets all these people along the way. So It's like he
okay.
collects all these different stories. And he's talking to this one old man, and the old man's telling him about how he got a divorce from his wife after, 20, 30, 40 years, however long. And he goes, why? And the old man just goes, well, she'd heard all of my stories, and I'd heard all of hers.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That's it.
Wow.
Doesn't that make more sense than being like, after a year, I fucking hate this person? I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
But that's what you're talking about, rushing into shit.
Wait, so he just married his wife to hear good stories? Why didn't he just listen
No,
to,
it's just the idea of like,
go to
look,
comedy show?
We've been together all these years.
I get it. I know.
Apart.
I was trying to deconstruct the deepness.
Yeah.
I thought it was, but yeah, I get it. It's
heard-
probably a little more complicated than that for my man.
Yeah.
She
That's
just
interesting.
I hate her stories, man. She says stupid
it's
stories.
just
But no,
people
I
growing
think
apart.
I think I disagree with both of you. I think it's more like if you do decide that it's not, it's we only have so much time. You know what I mean? To be wrapped up in God. That's the only currency God gave us is time, right?
Yeah.
That's why people pay you in the idea of time and a half, overtime, time. So that's what, that's really the currency that we have, and we don't know how much of it we have. So if you decide that, you're not aligned, or as the Bible says, even equally yoked with somebody, you're not going in the same direction, then perhaps it makes a little more sense than to get to that place where you now have children involved, 20, 25 years in, and so many more people are going to be upset or, blaming themselves and living in condemnation for it. So maybe it's just a quicker, I don't know, like once you figure it out. I have my grandmother, Icy, and my grandpa Joe been married about 47 years, but the more accurate statement is they have not gotten a divorce for 30 years. They hate each other. They're in their 80s, right? And my grandma just, it's just they have nothing better to do now, like in the sense that they can't do it now, right? But they argue all the time, and it's a part of their own identity, the fact that they dislike one another. And, man, I would never want to. I'd rather be alone.
Yeah.
But are you sure that they argue? Because I will say this: what I've seen when old people argue, it's like a normal thing. Like doesn't mean that they hate each other. It's more like they just like to argue. They just who
they would
are.
argue with anybody. I get what you're saying, but no, not them. It's a disdain that they have for each other and have had it for years. Like it's not even when they were younger. And why people would stay in that. I just like it was serious things, or him calling her, fat, stuff like that, and like or just being overall annoying her, and some of it is maybe because of a money situation. It's inconvenient. It's inconvenient to the family, which are none of those are like, to me, in my opinion, a good reason to cling to somebody or to take up their time. If you're really not here because there's flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, like you feel connected to this person, but it's a convenience thing. Maybe some people get by on that. Maybe that's why a lot of celebrity marriages, maybe they're business decisions. I mean, is part of your marriage, was part of the consideration a business decision, or some practical element to it? Or
no, I was making more money than her. It wasn't a business. I wouldn't say it was a business decision. Right. I will say that we did go to like pre-marriage counseling before we got married, right? Because in my mind, I was like, I want to make sure we're on the same page, right? Because what I don't want is for us to like get married and then a month in, suddenly, I find out something about you or you find out something about me, and then it's like, I can't believe that you didn't, blah blah blah. No, let's discuss things now, right? We had the money conversation early. Of like, how do you spend your money? How do you do this? How do you do that? I went into it with like I guess I went into it like a business decision to an extent, in the sense of,
what's your credit score? How much debt?
Make sure, I didn't ask with the credit score. But her credit score is actually pretty damn good.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, she has like student loans, right? Which everyone knows. She's a nurse practitioner. So it's like, she's gonna have loans to pay off. But I guess you can say, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of went into it like, okay, I'm about to start a business. What is everything I need to know about this business, right? What is, what are the pitfalls? What are the, cost benefit analysis? You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, exactly. You're merging two businesses together, and then now let's do an audit of everything. Everyone gets audited, no matter what the thing is. flip over every stone
Yeah.
to make sure that we're both making the right decision. Because I don't want her making the wrong decision and, marrying me and then like a month later being like, oh, wow, what did I get myself into?
Right. That's what people, man, when people feel stuck like that, that's why I watch a lot of those true crime things, man. Yeah. And you're like, why is somebody, just divorce them, right? But there's so much, you'd be surprised how much shame is around divorce, even especially in families and stuff. It's embarrassing.
It's a cultural thing.
It's actually like, maybe I should just kill this person.
It is a cultural thing, and that's
not
the thing.
saying that I would never do it, and it's wrong. Murder's wrong in every religion, but it's just like that's how they get there. Like, it's so shameful to just do that. Maybe I get money, and that's how the devil tricks. Like, you get some money, and you don't have to deal with this person anymore. You can move on, and you can come out looking like a victim because, you're a widower or you're a widow as opposed to a divorcee or something like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It is a shameful thing sometimes, and I think that's something that needs to be shut down sooner or later, where there's a shame in divorce, essentially. And I think that's like, it's a lot of immigrant communities feel that way. Yeah. Right. I mean, I can only speak for like Nigerian communities, but a lot of times it's like, I don't want a divorce because then what are people going to say? Right. What are people going to say about me? What if people blame me for the divorce?
The blame game.
You know what I mean?
We back there.
It's like in actuality, I can make the argument that there's never a single person to blame for a divorce, right? And I don't know, maybe that's just how I feel, but I can't. Right. I don't feel like there's ever I don't think it's ever 100%. Sometimes it's 80-20. Right. Sometimes it's like, I don't think it's ever like completely 50-50. I don't think it's ever 100%. Right. That's just me.
Well, I feel you. And going back to the Adam and Eve story, we were talking about the blame game earlier, but not saying this is not an indictment on all men or all women, but if you had to choose, and that's what you do on your show, your tough choices, hypothetical choices, right? So let me give you one, brother.
Tough choice.
Who is more at fault for original sin, Adam or Eve?
That's the thing. In Islam, we don't
place blame.
Say Adam.
We don't consider
say
original sin.
Oh, it wasn't the original sin?
No, we don't call it like an original sin or anything like that. Only because there were sins that were happening, right? So think of it this way: there were two. Like, I don't even know if this is in the Bible. So in the Quran, it said that Adam was created, and then all the everyone in heaven was told to bow to him, right? And then you call him Lucifer, we call him Iblis. Before he was Satan, right? He had a name. Yours is Lucifer, ours is Iblis. Okay. Right? And then Iblis didn't bow. Right? So then God's like, yo, why didn't you bow? I'm so paraphrasing. Right. But God was like, yo, why didn't you bow? And then Iblis was like, well, you created me. I'm better than him. You created me from fire. You created him from dust. Right? And then, so that right there, disobeying God was a sin.
But not of a man. He was you guys would consider.
But we don't call it the original sin in the sense of.
Well, we're just talking. So I think when Christians said they mean the original sin of man.
Exactly, the original sin of man. So. Okay, then they're wrong.
Because then Lucifer is already there. He's there.
Yeah, he's already there.
But there's none of that's covered in the Bible. Any celestial stuff like that. Okay. It deals with. Technically, people could say that the Bible or even the Tanakh, which is what Judaism calls it, it's more of a government. It's not really religion, right? Mm-hmm. Government where God is the king, but it's concerning man and earth. Yeah. That's why it doesn't necessarily talk about dinosaurs or outer space or anything. People try to use the Bible and say, well, what? But it's a story of a people and their government, right? Yeah. These are the people. This is their government. These are their laws, and so on and so forth. And then Jesus comes. He's the fulfillment of the law, or the savior that would fulfill the law and be the atonement for all mankind, blah, 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 blah. But, yes, it doesn't. I think the only place you get there is maybe Revelations. And then some prophets, I think some people extract things from prophets to where they get the Lucifer story, or I think you can kind of look at some of Samuel for some ideas about where what's going on in heaven. You're but a lot of it comes from not Dante's Inferno. What's the other one I was reading? It's a lot of what fanfiction, not fan fiction, but stuff about heaven. At least the way we modernly understand it. is the, gosh, I actually have it in my book. I was reading it. It's a long, almost a poem from John Milton wrote it, but it's where we get a lot of our ideas. Oh, Paradise Lost, right? Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained. People talk, that's where you hear, where we get some of these ideas about how Satan looked or like things like that, like what was going on. In this book, he's the champion of the fallen angels, which has already happened prior to, but the Bible just is dealing with humanity and their journey. And
that's an interesting point because in Islam, Satan wasn't a fallen angel.
He was just there,
right? He was what is called a jinn, right? And he just worked his way up.
And if we're clear,
amongst the angels,
the Quran is written, was it 16? No, so it's a recitation for those who are not familiar, from the angel Gabriel, to the Prophet Muhammad, and the Abu Bakr, his aide, wrote it down around the time of. Before, it was before his death. But
no, it was compiled after
the death of the Prophet. That's what I mean by Abu Bakr, his first aide.
Abu Bakr.
Yes. Okay, good. And around what year is this?
Abu Bakr. We're about to get death threats.
No, because it's BAKR.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, I'm trying to say it the right way.
I'm just messing with you.
I think you might be saying it wrong.
Exactly.
But Baker is.
We're gonna get envelopes in the mail, bro.
Talk about Mr. Baker.
Yeah, exactly.
He said Baker. I'm trying to be extra with the accent marks.
Yes, it was. The Quran was always during the time of the Prophet, it was always a verbal thing, an oral thing, where people memorized the things, and that's why a lot of times when you hear it being recited, a lot of it rhymes. Right, because it's easier to like memorize. So, yeah.
In Arabic.
In Arabic.
You read Arabic?
I can read Arabic. Yes.
Oh, dope.
I'm not like dope with it, right? But I can read it. Right. I can hold my own.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
All right.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Go back to your question.
You see how
who's in charge
far
of the
away?
original sin? I would say, from the Islamic perspective, nobody.
Okay.
Neither. There's no blame on man or woman necessarily.
Okay.
But who do you think?
Oh,
because
I'm asking the questions here, bro.
You're right. My bad.
No. Definitely, the way it's put, Eve was deceived. Adam was given the instruction, and therefore, I think in a lot of marriages, I think that men ought to be accountable for not the decision making, because modern society, you don't want to say nothing like that, but definitely should take responsibility and love their wife, their household, the way that Christ loved the church, as the Bible says, which is to sacrifice upon death. Like, it should be that willing to protect their family. So therefore, anything that happens or that wasn't looked into or considered prior to it happening probably ought to be on the man. You know, got to be on the man. You got to be responsible for that. You know, what you got your lady over here talking to snakes anyway, brother? Why wasn't she talking to you? What you over here naming animals and stuff like that? But here, and this is what I want to ask you too, right?
Just to add to your point,
yes, sir.
I agree with you I agree with you with what you said. I will say, and I can only speak from the Islamic perspective, the man is the head of the household, right? But it doesn't mean that a man can't seek guidance with his wife, right? It doesn't mean that being the leader doesn't mean that, you're the only person that should make these decisions. You still have to be able to delegate. You still have to be able to seek guidance, seek counsel, right? So I agree with the fact that a man should be the head.
Being a leader in the kingdom of God, or at least the way Jesus is a prophet he's just not the most recent prophet. He's a prophet named Isa in the Quran. And I'm not sure if this is in the Quran. Although the Quran, you're permitted to read the New Testament and the Old Testament as part of the Islamic tradition. Is that correct?
You can read whatever you want to read.
Or as part of,
I think that what we say is this: whatever is in the Quran that matches with the Bible, we take as truth. And then whatever is in the Bible that doesn't match or that whatever's in the Bible that's not in the Quran, we say, okay, well, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we're just gonna leave that.
Well, I'm not sure if this is in the Quran, but I know that at least in Jesus' time when they were going through his life, one way he showed leadership through the kingdom of heaven, how it's done in that dimension is through service, right? So the idea of being a leader is not a boss, right, where you tell people what to do. Jesus washed his disciples' feet, which is a servant's position normally, even back then. But he showed this. He told Peter, this is how you lead in my kingdom. It's through service. So this idea that, it could be true, and you could even use a lot of, there's probably some Christian brothers out there that say the Christianity says the same thing, and the man's the head of the household, or take an epistle from Paul and say stuff like that. But it's through the, if it's how you lead, and through what grace and through what measure and with what intention. If you're leading as God is the head of you and leading in that vein, then perhaps you can, I'm sure every faith would support that type of leadership. But with that said, and God, and I wanted to bring this into the Genesis, God gave man a job immediately, right? Name stuff, have dominion, be fruitful, right? Do you think modern men must have professions, or is it okay to be dependent on one's wife financially? And I asked that to a comedian on purpose.
Yes, I mean, listen. What do you mean, my modern man?
Oh, a man living in modern society. The men who live now, right? Yes.
So again, I'm not the smartest person in the world.
Here you go, trying to break down the question. Look what he's trying to do, man.
Professions.
Here you go, man. Answer the dang question, brother.
Okay, professions. What's professions?
Do you think my profession? Should you have a job that's not a house husband? Do you have a job outside of the household where you bring in income? Or is it okay to have a job that's like a house husband, be an at-home dad?
I mean, I think everyone should work, right? I think that if you're going to be the provider, then you need a job, right? If you're going to be the head of a household, if you're going to provide for the household, you're going to need a job. I will say in Islam, the prophet's wife made more money than him. So
wait, what? What she do?
She was a nurse practitioner?
No. No. She was like a businesswoman.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. In Islam, I can only speak for what I know, right? And of course, I'm not an Islamic scholar, right? My money.
We're just studying.
In Islam, your wife's money is her money, and your money is the family's money.
Your wife's money is her money.
Is her money.
And but the man's money belongs to everybody.
Belongs to everybody.
Huh.
Right.
Word.
So yes, and if your wife wants to help you out, it's her right to. She can, and if she doesn't, then amen, work. You know
amen.
What I mean? So yeah, I'm
amen.
I know guys that don't make as much money as their wives, and they're perfectly fine. I think that comes with a conversation, right? Because just knowing, men, it takes a very secure man to not make as much as his wife, right? And not have resentment. Right. Because that can build resentment.
Yeah.
If you have to be like, oh, can you pay? If you have to ask your wife, can you pay this bill? That can lead to some type of resentment in the relationship. Right. But yeah, so I don't mind it. Right. Listen, if my wife says, oh, I got the bills this month, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, babe, I want to pay. I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna say that. Go ahead, pay these bills. One time we had to go to Disneyland, and she bought the tickets, and I don't think she understood how much Disneyland tickets were, because she was just angry for the rest of the day.
Yeah. See, joyful giver. She wasn't a joyful giver.
She was like, no, I'll buy it. And I'm like, all right, go ahead. And she didn't look it up, and I was like, all right.
It's ridiculous. It's astronomical.
Yeah,
now you I cannot have this much of a good time.
Yeah.
Who can have $300 worth? Was it $350?
Isn't too much.
It's crazy. $350 of a good time per person.
And that's the ticket.
Lord
and then you have to pay for the parking.
And then you want a donut or what is it, churro?
You want a turkey leg. Everyone has to get a turkey leg.
Golly, you done been a whole mortgage on that thing, man. Well, let me
go ahead.
And I love that you're well versed in the Quran, or at least you understand. Like you said, this is Bible study. Ain't nobody a problem. We're not trying to do heresy up in here. Maybe chanting a little bit, but he started a new religion, chanting. But we just studying up in here. But is being a practicing Muslim a part of your brand, or do you prefer it be kept separate from your career? Totally.
It's a part of who I am as a person, right? So if that leeches on into my career, that's fine.
Right. I know you got a headshot where you looking real.
Oh, that was just.
You got the prayer hands. Got the all white.
Yeah. No, that was all Arthur Hamilton. He was like, okay, what's your what's your brand? And I said, okay, it's sophisticated ignorance. And he was like, okay, well, bring this kind of shirt, bring this kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
And we just, yeah, that was all his doing. I have no idea how to do like proper like headshots. But yeah, no, I think being Muslim is a part of me. Do I make it my brand? Not necessarily. Only because I don't right now, as it stands, I don't have a single joke about being Muslim. Right? I know a lot of Muslim comics that have jokes about being Muslim, and it's just, for me, I'm waiting for the joke that happens that it's like, okay, this fits my style in comedy, because I have my brand. If it doesn't fit my brand, then I'm not going to say the joke. Yeah, I'm not going to just be like, oh, I want to talk about being Muslim. Right? Because then if I force it, it's not going to be a quality joke. And I respect this art form too much to just say, this is what I want to talk about. I do that sometimes, but for the most part, I never want to force a joke. So I wouldn't say it's part of my brand. I said it's who I am. And if who I am comes into my brand, then that's fine. Right.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Now, would you ever, and have you ever had to sacrifice some of your integrity or ideas as a practicing Muslim for the art? I know you respect the art a lot, but I don't. For the art of comedy, for the profession of comedy, I know you guys have a lot of observances and things like that. Have you ever had to not observe a holiday or something like that, or had to be excused from some practice or something, or is that okay? Like, how does that work when it conflicts with your profession? What do you do normally?
Right now, the only time I had to figure it out, right? I had to figure out how to maneuver through, this industry, being a comic, and still trying to practice the religion, right? A lot of times, I have to pray 5 times a day. It's not on the dot, right? There's a time frame of like each prayer. So I try to, just try to meet the time. So let's say, and even if you're traveling, you can combine prayers. So if it's 5, if you're traveling, it's just 3, right? So, think of it this way. Sometimes I'll use El Paso, because we've both done El Paso. Right? A lot of times when I'm in El Paso, I will go on stage, I will perform. And then I will just walk back to the hotel and pray and then come back to the club. So things like that, I just maneuver through. Right? Okay, and it's like, listen, if someone pays me in a drink ticket, I'll take the ticket and I'll go get a Diet Coke.
All right.
Right. Yeah. So things like that. It's, I've been offered weed. Yeah, I take it. I throw it away. It gets thrown away.
Oh, you could have gave it to Janet.
It gets thrown away immediately.
What?
I've only been
generous.
Well, here's what happened. Where it's like, hey, Kazeem, like, I know you like don't smoke, but like we usually pay these guys in weed, but like, do you want Pokemon cards? And I was like, just give me the weed. I don't want your cards. I will just.
You would rather throw away weed
because the weed came in like a really nice box, and I kept the box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a toolbox.
But it's got haram in it. It got some weed. Oh, you threw the haram out.
I threw it away.
Oh, it's not. I thought it was corrupted once you had the weed up in there.
Not the box.
You just wash it out.
No, that's the thing. The weed was like packaged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't like loose weed.
I don't drink. I don't drink weed. I don't smoke weed. So I have no idea how it comes.
It was like in a packaged thing. I just picked up the box and I just dumped it on the thing, and then
all right. And so real quick before we get, cause I know we got to fight over this Bible, not fight, but we have to battle over the Bible belt like we do at the end of every episode, and I want you to let everybody know what you got going on. But one thing I did want to ask you is, well, have you picked up? Would you say, I don't know if you look at analytics or can tell, but have you picked up any Muslim contingency as a part of your fan base or people that come to support your live shows here in LA?
Not really.
That you can notice?
Not really. Okay, right. I have a friend named Ahmed Al-Qadri. He has a very big.
Yeah, he does Muslim a podcast here, right? Yeah.
Base, right.
Ahmed loves bread.
Whenever I perform with him, it's like, oh wow, you're Muslim too, and I'm like, oh yeah, follow me, and it's stuff like that. But I don't think. Well, that's the thing. I don't do any Muslim material as it stands. Right. I'm not saying I'm never gonna do it, but it's just like right now, I don't don't see anything that I'm like, okay, I want to do that and put like a Muslim edge to it.
Because I was going to ask you, like,
anything
would
like
you
that.
think? We talked to Zainab, and she said like there's not performances at mosques and things like that she was aware of. Where that's kept separate. It's just for prayer, and you know how churches will have a comedy show, things like that. But well, would you say that what would be more uptight? Do you think what audience do you think it'd be more fun to perform for, less of attention, a Christian audience, or I guess we couldn't really throw in a Jewish audience. It doesn't make sense. I can't even think of where you perform for a highly Jewish audience. But
synagogue?
A synagogue, I don't think they do that at all there.
No?
I don't think they do that. Comedy
so.
shows, or certainly not people not of the faith could come in. Because
they
Zainab
have
talked
Jewish
about how she
conferences.
performed it. Of course, it's Jewish conferences. All right, but
Zainab,
we'll keep it simple. How about Christian, like which one, Christian and Islam or Muslim audiences, just the audience itself, not in any particular place, but who would you think would be harder to perform for, or or for you maybe particularly?
I'm not trying to sound cocky. I'm just a really good comic, so I can do both.
You can do
I
both.
just want to put that out there.
Okay.
I will say I don't think, and I'm not trying to not pick a side, but I don't think either.
He
of them
hasn't
would
picked one
be-
side once.
I don't think either of them would be. I think both of them would be easy and both of them would be hard for their own reasons. If you're saying a Muslim audience, most of the time they're full of immigrants or children of immigrants, right?
Okay.
So it's like you can, as long as you understand that, then you'll be fine, because there are things that immigrants will understand and not understand, right? Yeah. And I think a Christian audience just like stay clean. And you're good. Both of them, you have to probably stay clean, right? Unless they say, hey, you can curse at this show, right? But it's highly doubtful that you go in front of a crowd that's specifically a religious crowd, and you can just cuss up a storm.
Man, you know what,
right?
man? I think I feel like you running for office or something.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm
just
not.
so
You're
used to
so
the
down the aisle.
Yeah,
Baby in here for this motherfucker to
Well,
kiss.
it'd be easy. I mean, okay. I will say I don't.
Oh, he about to say something wild now.
No,
Got him right
he's
to the
searching.
end.
I
He's
would
searching. Look at his
say
Rolodex.
He'll say something crazy.
I would say I would have more fun doing the Christian audience. I would probably get paid more doing the Muslim audience.
Woo!
And then the Muslim audience would take a little more skill. Christian audience, honestly, I could just do my jokes and then not cuss. But a Muslim audience, it's like, okay, well, let's see what countries are represented in this thing, because each like ethnicity laughs. Like African Muslims are good and they laugh at certain things, right? And then Arab Muslims, and then South Asian Muslims, and then converts that are like white and Hispanic and stuff like that. And Hispanic Muslims there's so many there's so many things that'll happen when usually if you're in front of a church, most of the time a lot of them look alike.
Wow.
Or a lot of them have that same mentality.
Oh, that's true. And the
right?
different, if you're in a specific church.
If you're in a Catholic church, I can understand where it's like, okay, well, this service was an hour anyway, right? Baptist church, there's going to be lunch after, and then probably you're going to perform after they serve food, and then you're going to perform right before the step show. Like a bunch of things can happen where it's a full day of activities. But, for Muslims, it's like usually at a conference, and it's like an entertainment night, so they're coming to be entertained.
Okay.
Right? Where there's no sermon before or after the comedy show.
It's completely okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, Kazeem, I feel like you've represented the fastest growing religion in the world very well, but you about to be the fastest losing
I'm going
comedian
to be. I'm gonna
in the
lose.
history of the Bible Belt. Actually, I gotta put it here because I lost last time.
Can I just hold it?
Yes, you have to hold it. It's your belt right now.
Can I just hold it? I want to hold it. I want to hold it while.
Yeah, Channing, bring us in.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, believers and non-believers alike, your host, Sean Grant, is coming off of one loss to Del Harrison. Kazeem Rahman, you are representing the guests.
Can I get my sunglasses?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, put the sunglasses on.
I just want to, since we're doing wrestling.
Sean Grant is contending to take the belt back from the Halif of husbandry, the covenant of comedy, the halal of ha-has, Kazeem Rahman.
Yeah! Oh,
I
man.
feel like The Rock just.
Yeah. Wasn't there? Who was the brother that was a big time Muslim wrestler? He was a bad guy, though. They made him a bad guy.
Is it Rikishi?
No, not Rikishi.
No.
Rikishi
Rikishi
like
was
Samoan or
Samoan.
something.
There was a guy,
Yeah.
I think they called him I forget. He was like from the 80s.
The
Saudi.
Ayatollah.
Ayatollah.
You talking about the
something.
Iron Sheik?
The Iron
Iron
Sheik.
Sheik.
Oh,
Sheik.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
Iron
I mean, that's messed up.
Watch him be Hispanic in real life. Because
I think he was.
Yeah, Rikishi was Samoan. Yokozuna was Samoan.
He wasn't Japanese?
No.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Hey.
A lot of people are Samoan, like low key.
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big wrestling people
They're
over there.
huge.
All right,
They're
Kazeem,
big,
you are
but-
representing the guest, the current title holder, in a
Yes.
3-round trivia off featuring Bible questions.
Can I say something really quick? Can we have Sean close his Bible just in case?
There's some cheating in
I
here.
don't trust him. I don't trust him.
There was an episode a few weeks ago where the Bible, it started blowing open to certain pages. You remember that?
Yeah. And it was
God,
about to
no.
fall
Craig
on.
was in
That's
here,
God.
Y'all
bro.
trying to help me, baby.
That's God, bro.
Oh, all I need is
If
God
you
on my
guys
side.
tie goes to the guest, so you
right.
will retain
Okay.
the belt.
Yes.
Okay.
On behalf
I
of the
can't ride
guests.
your answers, basically,
Okay.
and win that way.
Wait, who answers first?
You do.
You answer first. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's multiple choice.
Yeah.
So-
It's
Champ,
multiple
are you
choice.
ready?
Oh, I'm
Oh,
the champ.
you're the
Yes, I
champ,
am.
yes.
No, yeah, don't answer. I'm the champ.
Challenger, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Round 1. Question
Ooh.
1. How many years did Adam live?
Oh.
A, 340. B, 880. C, 930. Or D, 970.
Yes. Now, with a caveat, please understand, people, whoever, like people, when they look at months and years in the Bible, people have changed their weeks and the months and the days and the months over time. Even like now, from 1800s, people are different ages.
And they're only
Blah, blah,
quizzing,
blah.
and we're also only quizzing on the Bible.
on what the Bible says
Bible
about
says.
how long Adam lived.
Okay.
And I know it couldn't have been up in them 9s because that's Methuselah. I'm sorry. I'll let you answer
No,
first. But
no,
I
you're
think
right. It couldn't have been up in them 9s. Go ahead. What else do you want to
I'll say nothing else. I'll say
say?
absolutely
Nothing else.
nothing
So
else.
it's either A or B for me. So I'm gonna flip a coin. I'm gonna say A.
Yeah, I think it's A. I don't think he lived 880. I think it was 340.
So, Sean, you're going 340. Kazeem, you're going B, 880.
No, I'm going
No,
A.
we're
Also.
both going
you're-
A. I'm
we're
gonna
both
go
You guys
A.
are both going
I'm
A.
gonna go A.
Wait,
'cause
hold on.
That's what I was gonna say
why
initially.
are you asking me that question?
Just to clarify.
Oh, just to clarify.
So that listeners know.
Is
who
there
it
Maybe
like
I'll go
is
B.
there a you'll go B? Good. I'll
Maybe
go A.
You go A. No, I'm
Kazeem
going
was
A.
Wait,
going-
which one should I go, Channing?
This
You guys both
dude,
might
man,
be
he's trying
right.
to
Okay, cool. I'm
confuse
gonna
us.
go A. I'm gonna go
He
A.
brought the
I saw
spirit
his
of
face.
confusion in
I
here.
saw his face. I'm gonna go A.
I'm going A.
You guys are both going A, 340 years.
340.
You're both wrong. The correct answer is C,
930.
9:30.
Wow, Methuselah
Oh, wow.
lived 1,000 years. Adam
wow.
lived 930.
I should have gone. You said 9. I see. That was
took that off the
deception
table
on
immediately.
Sean's part. Trying
All the
to,
days of Adam were
trying to act
930
like
years.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Genesis 5:5. My bad. I won't do that no more. Golly, I was so wrong. I went
Round
too low.
2.
Okay.
What was the final plague in the 10 plagues of Egypt? A,
Okay.
lice. B, locusts. C, death of the firstborn. Or D, hail.
You go ahead, brother. I think I got it.
I'm not gonna lie. Here's what I'm doing in my head right now. I'm replaying Prince of Egypt, that Disney movie, and I'm like, what happened?
I never
Right?
saw that.
I mean, if you just think
C.
about this,
It was C.
and you're going C, death
was
of the
C.
firstborn.
It's
Only
C.
because I can see it.
You're about to
I
give
can
a
see them-
crazy clue,
I can
Channing.
see
You
them- I
like,
can
what
I
would
was
see
shut
just
it
gonna
down?
say. I mean, if you just go like through the process,
It's the
of-
Passover.
of,
Yeah, that's how Passover
you
came
know,
about.
severity.
Right. Definitely death of the
You
firstborn.
started out
shuts
with
it
death
down.
of the firstborn, and then you threw some hail at him. They'd be
Yeah,
like,
that's where we get the
"Who gives a
Passover
shit about
from.
this hail? My son's
Right.
dead."
Right.
So the
So-
correct answer is C, death
Death of the firstborn. So,
So
we're
what
tied.
we're saying is I'm about to win.
No.
You guys are
they're-
tied. There's
they're
one
tied.
question
One more
left.
question. If I get
No,
it right,
I didn't
you
say
get
I
it wrong.
won. I'm saying I'm about to win.
It ain't
We're
gonna
just
happen,
talking
baby.
trash.
I ain't gonna
I would
happen.
say that there is an edge to Kazeem right now because curveball. Question 3.
Ooh.
How many surahs are in the Holy Quran?
Ooh, I
First of
know
all,
this.
It's called
A.
Surah.
Say that again.
It's Surah, not
Surah?
Surahs.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
Here you go. He better know how many it is too, Mr.
A,
Grandma.
30.
That's
B, 114. C, 139. Or
I'll let
D,
Sean answer
107.
first.
Oh, wow.
No. You
He's
have to
giving
answer
up home
first.
field advantage.
No, yeah, I know. I think I know.
Oh,
Well, listen, it's
because if
B-
you tie
it's-
me, if you say
it's-
what I say,
it's B.
It's B. Oh,
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say C 139.
It's not 139. It's 114.
correct answer is B, 114.
Wow.
Yeah. Hold on. So what do we say?
What?
Hold on before you play the music. Still. And still.
The undisputed
Kazeem.
Bible Belt
Undisputed.
champion, Kazeem Rahman, holding it down for the guys.
Congratulations, brother. Congratulations.
Now go ahead and finish what you were going to say.
The first thing I want to say is that, it's just a blessing to be here.
Sir,
And
this is the
you got to thank God above all else.
Bible
I feel
Belt,
like-
and we had a
I feel
Quran question
Yes.
at the end, Channing.
We got to
mean-
fight fair.
Well, I'm not going to lie.
No, we don't. That's not the way.
I feel like your fans are going to think that I clearly told him to do this.
Right.
I just want everyone to know.
I did the same thing for Zainab.
Oh, you threw a Quran
Really?
question in
Yeah.
there?
You threw a
Yeah,
Quran
sir.
for it. Did she get it right? I'm just
I
being
think I won
nosy.
that one.
No,
I
she
beat
got it
Zainab.
wrong.
I
It was
beat
kind
her.
of like a curveball.
What
a
was
weird
the question, though?
Something
Ooh,
about. Let me see if I can find
I
it.
think Kazeem
It
would
was.
know
Do
either. Stuff.
you remember it was like a little bit of a trick question,
Oh yeah, it was
which wasn't intentional. It had something to do with
it's
I wanna say
wording.
it had something to do with Aramaic or something.
Oh, okay, then yeah,
I can
that's
find it real
if
quick.
it's a tricky one.
It's one of those trick.
Think it
Yeah.
Then yeah, I probably
This
wouldn't even
one.
know.
Oh. But yeah, while Channing finds that, man, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kazeem. I thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, brother. We're backlogged a little bit, and I know you have live shows all the time, but where can people stay in touch with you? How can they connect with you?
Kazeem
online?
Comedy, Kazeem Comedy,
Yes.
on all platforms. Right, I have a podcast named Tough Choice with Kazeem Rahman. Right, so that is on all platforms as well. If you
Yes.
just type in Tough Choice Podcast, you will find my podcast.
Dang.
It is not, hard to find.
Yeah.
It is not as enlightened as this podcast. We don't teach you much, but it is think of it like it is an enlightened debate with silly people.
Oh, it's so fun to watch,
Right,
man.
where
One of my
we
favorites.
are just going through would you rather questions, and
Yes.
we are debating the merits of them
Yes, and picking
Right.
sides.
and picking sides.
there you go.
And I didn't pick many sides here today.
You sure
but
didn't.
When you have me back, I will.
Played
You're
it
very
safe.
careful. That's fun,
I
though.
will
That's
pick
good.
sides.
But now this was the question we were
This is
talking
the question
about.
right
The
here. What is
first one.
the Arabic word for angels? A, messengers. B, arat. C, janat. D, malaka.
Malaika or something.
Well, they're not the Aramaic or Arabic word
Arabic.
for angels.
This was copied and pasted from a.
Like a
An
Quran
Islamic
quiz.
quiz, yeah.
Well, it's not messengers. That's an English word, right? Wait, Arabic word for angels. No,
This
it's
is-
not
yeah, this was,
because that's not It can't be. Why? If it's messenger, I'm gonna be confused. Is it messenger?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's
wrong.
messenger.
That's it. We thought it was weird.
Well, no,
It's
that's
weird
wrong.
Because technically it's that's a word.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the World Wide
Because-
Web.
but
For
Well,
it.
then
but he's
angels,
saying when-
because angels aren't messengers. Does that make sense?
They're not
'Cause in the-
messengers
in the
even
sense-
in the
No,
faith.
in the sense when you say a messenger, right?
Right.
That's a person that came with a book. Right?
Oh,
So
but
there are
wasn't the
prophets
Gabriel
and
the
then-
messenger?
No. He wasn't the messenger. Exactly.
Angel
He
Gabriel.
wasn't the messenger.
Ah,
The prophet was
was
the
the
messenger.
messenger? Oh, I
Right?
see.
And that's why you probably threw her off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause when you say messenger, it's like, no, that's
I
that's
don't know.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
getting it
yeah.
straight from those Googleable sources. So
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
fight with
Somebody fight with them. Right? But
yeah.
Zainab wasn't wrong. You weren't wrong, Zainab.
Yeah. No recounts
That's
here.
all-
I
that's
still
all
won, but
right.
I lost today. But thank you for being
No.
here, Kazeem. Make sure you stay in touch with Kazeem. Follow Tough Choice Podcast. Stay in touch with me. I am Sean Grant on Instagram and all this other stuff. And follow at Comedian Bible Study on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Watch my YouTube page to see when we release new episodes. And follow Channing at The Other Channing on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us. Peace out. Have a safe week. Peace.